Dr. Julie McCallan here with Synergenics Denver. Are you struggling with low energy, lack of focus, weight gain, or poor sleep? My team can help you get your metabolism and hormones balanced and healthy. Call Synergenics today, 720-387-3681, or visit our website at denver.synergenics.com.
KNUS Denver, the voice of the people. News Talk 710. Get up, get at it, and get it done with Peter Boyles on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Morning, everybody. It's 8 a.m. on a Tuesday that feels like a Monday. 710 KNUS. I'm Peter Boyles, back in the saddle. 82 will be the high today, cooler and maybe some afternoon rain. Tomorrow, warmer and 90, 95 on Thursday, 92 on Friday. We have an open lines hour. Randy's got the con this afternoon. Apparently, Stefan may be back on Thursday. We'll see what happens. We get a drop with him maybe in the morning, but Thursday seems to be the date. We had Joel Gilbert on the show, Paul Farhi from the Washington Post. Just a quick story from the weekend. You go to the website, Mr. Crowley rides again. Our website is 710 KNUS, and it's /Peter Boyles. And it's a motorcycle ride yesterday by myself, and I find myself doing that a lot, like just getting out on the highway. And it's Reagan talked about, how you think well from the back of a horse or words to that effect. And I find myself in the wintertime, skiing is a good place. It's like there's a Zen thing, I think, to it that you can release, and you can do a lot of pretty clear thinking when you're skiing. I think the same about motorcycles. I ran into a couple of young guys. The place I always stopped for mango tea was closed. There's a real hardcore biker, right? Get some mango tea. There's 3 kids that were just great, and they missed her, So we ended up riding to Palmer Lake, and just great young guys. And walking out, and ran into a bunch of actually Big Eric and a couple of his buddies. So we took a picture, and I sent it to Crowley. I said, put this up. It's on the website. The 2 kids on the ends of the kids that I met and rode with, and they didn't know anything. Hey, you want to go with us? Sure. Where are we going? Palmer Lake? Let's go. And I ran into Big Eric and a couple of his buddies. And look at the way guys are dressed. I mean, bikers really are. And I'm in the middle. And I showed it to somebody. Said, you look like a little old man. And this morning they said, you are a little old man. And I said, yeah, I guess so. It's come to that. So it's a good picture. It's up, and those are great kids. And it speaks volumes. Motorcycles and skiing and all those kinds of things that you meet. We're talking about riding bikes, pedal bike riding, same thing. You run into people. Skiing, I thought, more than anything else, you just sit on a chairlift, and there's somebody on a chairlift, and you start to talk, you make a run together. Let's go back up and do it again. Motorcycling, I think, more so than perhaps other things. So the question this morning is, do you go downtown Denver anymore? And why not? And when was the last time you went? I do it now for the radio experience of being able to at least know a little bit what we're talking about. And Denver's trashed. There's no question about it. And the people who trashed it were the Democrats. Same people then, same people now. Or what's the difference between Federico Pena and this mayor? Well, Federico Pena was smarter. This is the Britney Spears of politicians. But, what the damage that Hickenlooper did is you can't measure it. But then you have Polis, and you have all these same people, city councils. The Aurora City Council, believe it or not, is more radical than the Denver City Council. And so where do we head, and how do you stop it? How do you abate it? How do you bridge it? So here's where we are, 303-696-1971. When is the last time you went downtown Denver? Why don't you go anymore? We start with Kevin, I think. Kevin, you're on a radio show. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Pete. How are you?
I'm well, man. Thank you.
So I live just a little west of Santa Fe on Bowles.
Okay.
And we had lots of people over the years come visit. My wife's from Europe, so she would have cousins and all kinds of stuff. They come visit. And one of the must-do activities used to be, go down to Littleton Light Rail. Mm-hmm. It's a cool little, train station, and jump on the light rail, go to 16th Street, jump off the train, walk right into Anthony's, get a slice of cheese, wander around 16th Street, maybe go check out the Art Center. A couple times I was able to sneak us into the Paramount Theater, to look at the twin pipe organs and just, lots of history. Go to Lodo's and sit up on the roof, look at Coors Field, all that stuff. And everybody always used to say, what an amazingly clean city it is. Yeah. I wouldn't go down there today with my Glock because I'd be afraid. I'd be afraid I'd have to use it.
Now there's absolutely. Listen, there's a revolt taking place inside the Democratic Party. We talk about a civil war in the Republican Party. But the Capitol Hill residents are fencing off parkways. I went and looked. It's true. And people on their own, citizens, rank and file, are fencing. Hancock won't or can't. And anybody that thinks that he is moving or is not moving people because of the All-Star game, I got a bridge in Brooklyn. They're doing that. That's very short term. Everybody will be back as soon as the All-Star team, as soon as the media and all the moneyed people leave town, they will all return. Having said that, this is a golden opportunity right now for the Republican Party if they're smart enough. People are in revolt. They're fencing off their own streets. And they're protecting their own properties from the homeless without any help from the manager of safety, chief of police, city council, or certainly the mayor. And it has meaning.
Well, and for folks like us, I don't have access to Denver politics because I don't live there.
I know. I mean, but it doesn't matter.
But there's an old saying, it's easier to fool someone than convince them they've been fooled.
Yeah. But remember this.
And I don't think you're going to convince anyone in Denver that they're flushing down the toilet faster than they can swim back.
I think you'd be surprised how many people are really kind of waking up. But right now, the Republican Party.
I would hope so.
Well, there's a void in leadership. There's a vacuum in leadership. It's going to take a leader. I keep talking about a Reagan-esque character, man or woman, I don't care, but a Reagan-esque character that can pull people together as Reagan did. And you can look at this insanity created by Polis and created by Ritter and created by Hancock and created by Hickenlooper and created by the city council and the developers. These people all have hands in this. I love when Brother Jeff comes on. Brother Jeff said, in their world, it's okay to put homeless camps in Brother Jeff's world, but don't bring it over to these wealthy characters on Montview Boulevard. Well, that's what's happened. Sure. Yeah, that's what's happened. So, no, I mean, your point's well taken. But how can you... I was Saturday night. I was having dinner with some great friends, great barbecue, and if they gave the okay, I'd say who they were. But they had given up on the Republican Party. They'd thrown their hands down at the Republican Party, and we were sitting there having a conversation about how to unscrew the Republican Party. And these are people that I really think hung the moon. It was a great get together, and right now the Republican Party in Colorado is into civil war. And it's time to look, there's a real enemy out here. And if you go you go to homeowners and you go to voters and you say, look what Tay Anderson has done. Look what these people have done. Look at the price of fuel in this in Colorado right now. That's Jared Polis. What can we do? And you unify, you put a united front together, and you can actually I believe you can turn the course of this. But when people that you would think are lifelong Democrats are fencing off parkways to keep the homeless from their properties, honest to God, Kevin, that has huge meaning.
Hey, well, you're right. And like I said, you go down there. I don't. Well, I won't go down there. No, but, like I said, I wouldn't go down there without my Glock, and I'd be afraid to use it.
Stick your put your Glock behind your back, but just go down and drive, the parkways and drive around it. I mean, get full value. And it's coming your way.
It's look, we never had the corner hawkers, and now they're everywhere. And I'll tell you, here's something, something's coming with my local King Supers.
You bet.
All of a sudden, they have those little wheel locks on their carts.
Well, they turn them. They call them. We've dubbed them sidewalk Winnebagos. I saw. Well, yeah. I was on my motorcycle on Friday, and I'm on Hamden, and I'm crossing over 25. 2 women, banging, throwing hands,
banging it out for the corner.
That's right. Who was gonna get that? Who was gonna fly the sign? I mean,
what's interesting is I think Arvada, and I don't know if they stopped doing it because of COVID or whatever, but they used to have an ordinance where you couldn't, because I used to come off 70, and you get on Wadsworth,
yep.
That corner
sure,
there.
Of course.
And if there was somebody there, I can't tell you how many times I saw cops pull up and say, "Get out of here."
Well, but it's
so. But I don't know if they still do it anymore. But,
these women were, they were hooking. And it was, there was the up ramp, the ramp that comes, if you're going northbound on 25 and you come up that ramp to get off on Hampden and either go left or right. I'm sure it's a hot spot for money. And they were, I'm on a bike and I look over to my right and they're just banging away on each other. And people are watching, like it's like sport. Like other homeless dudes are standing there leaning on the bridge and watching these two women bang away. And I'm thinking, damn, man. It's some sick stuff, and I don't know who won the fight. I don't know who got to stand there and fly a sign. But we lost our calls. Our calls just don't went away. We're having like phone call morning 303-696-1971. Let's try this again. I apologize. We're having some weird phone stuff. Last couple of weeks have been weird phone times. Do you go downtown anymore? Why don't you go? When was the last time? What can be done? Dr. Julie McCallan, I see her tomorrow. Actually, you know what? Today's my day to see Dr. McCallan. What am I doing? It's Tuesday. I think it's Monday. Peter, tremendous difference in my life physically and emotionally. She can do the same for you. Some of the common issues that bring new patients to Cenegenics are fatigue, inability to lose weight, despite adequate exercise, diminished libido. I got to make a call and say, hey, wait a minute. Peter, wake up and smell the coffee. It's Tuesday, not Monday. Her team can help you get your metabolism and hormones balanced and healthy. Cenegenics starts with a comprehensive testing, followed by the ability to prescribe precision medicines that address your health needs. They produce a detailed nutrition exercise plan legitimately. The balance to your hormones can help you lose weight, gain lean muscle mass, increase your mental capacity and clarity. She's the real deal. Changed my life, everybody's life. Word on it, she'll do the same for you. Take the first step. Their number is 720-387-3687. Jackie answers the phone. Damn, I've been saying it's Tuesday. Feels like a Monday. Tuesday's my day to see Dr. McCallan. Stooge, 720-387-3681. The number 720-387-3681. The website is denver.cenegenics.com. Jackie answers the phone. You'll see Jared. It all works. Cenegenics. Do yourself a favor. Get the free 20-minute phone call with Dr. McCallan, 720-387-3681. We had jam lines. Everybody got bounced off. 303-696-1971, 12 after the hour. Randy's got the show this afternoon. Stefan may be back on Thursday. When was the last time you went downtown Denver? Why don't you go anymore? I remember, go downtown for dinner and go cool little shops. And like the caller was saying, people come to town, you'd walk the mall with them. And remember, you could ride the mall bus and you could take those carriages. And there's always some cool place to go. And now I don't know anybody that goes downtown. And maybe they are. But I still say this, that these stories that are floating out and they're getting passed on people, homeowners, legit, citizens of Denver who I think probably, if not were, are Democrats. And fences are now roping off parkways in neighborhoods. And the city has to know whether it's going to be illegal or not. These homeowners are required. They want to take care of their homes. And when you allow these squats to take place and bring crime into your city, I watched a woman talk about not only have they tore up her neighborhood, but now they've broken into her garage and stolen her bicycles and all this kind of stuff. And sure, those are not hapless people. Those are not experiencing homelessness. Those are just words. These are hardcore street criminals. These are people with dominant addictions. These are people with mad dog addictions. And they're capable of doing crime because they got to feed the monkey. It's just the truth. What was the old line? Your gorilla and so you got a monkey on your back. Said, no, the monkey's now carrying me. Guys that used to use that line when I first met people in Step 13. The monkey was so big, the monkey was now carrying them. They have enormous problems, meth problems, heroin problems. In California now, believe it or not, and I'm sure you do, they're going to begin a program to pay junkies not to use. To pay junkies not to use. How funny is that? I will pay you not to do dope. It works every other time. All right, Bob, you're on a radio show. Good morning. Thank you.
Oh, good morning, Pete.
Hey, man.
I don't go downtown to Denver hardly at all. I drive through it on 25. But 3 years ago, we went down to Larmer Square to celebrate an anniversary. And all of a sudden, my daughter suggests we go down there to celebrate our anniversary again. And I don't know if that's really a good idea to do so.
It's the same thing. Where do you park? How far do you have to walk?
Well, the last time we went, we parked, and I think we walked about 2 blocks to get to the restaurant. And the restaurant was very good.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm not interested in putting my daughter or my wife or her friend in danger by going down there.
Absolutely. It's for real. Do yourself a favor on a bright, sunny day. Just go drive it. Go down like by the ballpark and up the Parkway and in and around lower downtown. Just get full value. And then take a look at the mall. I know that, you got to ride the mall bus, or you can walk it, but look at stuff that's still boarded up. Look at graffiti. Look, and actually, Polis allowed that to happen to the state capitol all summer long. They just trashed the state capitol. And that was allowed. That was allowed to happen. Paul Pazin goes out and kneels in the street, the chief of police kneeling in the street with the protesters. And Polis disappeared.
Did they approach you a lot? While you're walking?
No. I just kind of like, go during the day and ride your pedal bike or ride your motorcycle. It's not, but you can just see it.
Well, as I say, my only concern is the safety to the family.
Of course. I wouldn't do it at night with my family. You crazy?
But this is about 5:30 at night.
Well, again, I'm not telling anybody what to do or where not to go, but go get full value of it and ask yourself, why is this happening? And then, how can we take that and use it to dump these people who have who've created it? John Hicken.
Well, you can only do it with your vote.
Well, there you go. And that is it. That's the beginning and that's the ending. Bob, I appreciate the call. Thank you. 303-696-1971. I can't see a name here. Gary, you're on a radio show. Good morning.
Yeah, hi, Peter.
Hey,
I wanted to comment on going downtown. I go down there once a week, and it's only because my employer is still being very cautious about, with COVID, getting, everyone into the office. And I think the homeless situation will solve itself as more and more companies ask their employees to go downtown and begin working downtown. It won't completely cure it, but I think that's contributing just to the lack of activity downtown. I was listening to a radio station the other day, and Minneapolis was also explaining how their downtown is very quiet because employers are just not comfortable right now about asking their employees.
The only one that isn't comfortable apparently is the government.
Well, no, these are private employers.
Well, I understand that people can say things, but the city of Denver has not called its employees to come back to work yet.
Yeah, and I'm sure, it's government, it's private.
But I don't think that's that many people. There's a reason why downtown's turning into what it's turned into. I don't think it has anything to do with people not coming to work. People still go to work. They still go downtown to work. It's what's happened at night, what's happened on the weekends. That's where the real impact is.
Yeah, maybe it's tourists as well, but I think during the business hours, I've noticed a significant, I'd say 20% of the people I see, for instance, when I go to lunch, the vendors down there are really suffering because there's just the volume.
Well, when somebody doesn't come back, that's what those guys lose.
Yeah, I think it's temporary. I think by maybe
January. Using San Francisco as my guide, you're wrong, because this stuff was a couple years ahead of Denver, and nothing has changed in San Francisco. In 7 years, it's only increasingly gotten worse. L.A. has gotten worse. New York has gotten worse. And Denver's gotten worse. And I don't think it has anything to do with people not coming to work.
Well, I use Minnesota, not either of those.
But the big problems are, I don't know Minnesota. I know that what's happened in the riots, Minnesota took huge hits. But take a look at what's happening in San Francisco, in L.A., in Chicago, in New York, places like that, Atlanta. And they've increasingly daily, weekly, yearly gotten worse with these squats and tents. And it has nothing to do with whether or not somebody goes to work. It has to do with people like John Hickenlooper, Polis, and others making it more welcome, taking care of more and more people, offering more and more abilities to be homeless and loaded and high and drunk and crazy, and making it perfectly legit to stay there and live there and build a camp there and go about your life. The city of Denver, that's what makes it okay.
Yeah, I know that my employer, when they indicate we don't want you to go down there yet full time, they don't say it's because of the homeless population.
No, because they can't. They can't. You can't say that.
No, and that's your opinion, but
no,
I believe.
Look, can you imagine a company today in Denver, Colorado, in the politically correct wars that we're in, saying we don't want our employees to come back to work because of those experiencing homelessness or the unsheltered? People would eat their lunch.
No, I believe my employer when they say they're more concerned with the workplace when you're indoors. The spread of COVID and this new variant.
May I ask you who your employer is? Because I believe I know.
Internal Revenue
It's
Service.
The federal government. I just said that. It's the government. The only reason it's the city of Denver hasn't called people back. It's the government. I mean, with respect, it's the government.
Well, and I work for the IRS, and we're nationwide in every state.
It's still the government. It's still the feds.
It's still the government, but the same reason is given for everyone. It's about COVID, not the homeless.
You know what? If that's an excuse to not go to work, God bless you. But my point is, the reason why downtown Denver is on its ear right now and trashed out has nothing to do with somebody working for the IRS. It really doesn't. I mean, it has to do with what has been allowed to happen since John Hickenlooper declared Denver's road home. He's going to end homelessness, all the insanity that came with it, the craziness of the far left. Gary, that's why it's there.
Yeah, I respect your viewpoint on that, and I think you're right. Homelessness is an issue that has been poorly addressed, but in my opinion, the lack of people working downtown is unrelated to that.
Gary, it's been encouraged. It's not been poorly managed or whatever you said. It's been encouraged.
Right.
It's encouraged to do this.
You're exactly right, and I respect that opinion.
Right. Take care. All right. It's encouraged. We will end homelessness. Come here, John Hickenlooper. I'll make a lousy senator, but here I am. 82 will be the high today. It's a Tuesday. I'm doing a Monday in my head, too. Right back after this, it is your calls. Okay, we start here with David. David, you're on a radio show. Good morning. Lines are full.
Good morning, Peter. This is the second time I've ever called into a show, both times with you.
Oh, you're cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Peter, first off, there's so much bundled up in the question. I'll tell you simply, my wife and I haven't gone downtown in 2 years. Just prior to COVID, it was our regular date night to go to Colfax, walk to the bookstores. I won't name them by name, and then go up and down Broadway. But quite frankly, now it's the most disgusting scene I've ever seen.
Agreed.
Now, I moved from Detroit 25 years ago. I go back to Detroit and have customers there, and it's wonderful what they're doing downtown Detroit. Anyone?
We still there? We lost.
Peter,
come back.
Yes.
Okay.
Peter, I'm still here. I'm going into a hole, one of the many in Denver. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I said I moved here from Detroit 25 years ago, and I plan on moving back, quite frankly. Detroit's done a wonderful job of turning their town around with many incentives. But, Peter, the issue of homelessness in general is one of an economic argument, and we know that. And it started many years ago when we took heavy industry out of this country, when we stopped getting our hands dirty.
Yes and no. The argument, and it's one of my many arguments about what multinationals did. But the people that are there now, you go down there, and I spend some time doing it, they're young and principally white. And these are people that have dominant addictions. They're mad dogs. And it has nothing to do with whether you could get a job or not. We see every restaurant up and down the mall, every place has a help wanted sign in the window, David. Nobody.
Absolutely.
They don't want to work. They don't want to work.
What? Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Peter, it's such a big conversation about inheritance, inherited money, transfer of wealth. You're right. And the problems that I saw, by the way, I'm a history nut, studying history, primarily 1850 and forward, looking at how they dealt with homeless scenarios in the 1900s at a local level. Now, there's a bigger conversation we want to get into, but the idea that the federal government can be an economically sound answer to a local issue anywhere in the country is absurd.
But
it's right.
The idea of a welfare state that, is, and again, this is one of the models, this is one of the reasons why the Marxists have a good argument when they get into this, that this isn't really the fault. If you listen to the Marxist ideologues, all these guys sitting on the Capitol grounds that are getting high or in Civic Center Park or junkies or whatever they're doing, in the Marxist ideology, it's really not their fault.
Well, you're right, and the idea, I'm going to cut to the chase on one subject that raises a few eyebrows. The idea that where there is no penalty, there is no law.
Of course not.
It rings the bell. And in this country over the last 10 years, and this is going to really upset some people downtown, if a thief breaks into your house and steals your TV and is caught, they go to jail. We've had the banking system in this country bring us to our knees 3 times in the last decade and a half. Nobody pays the price. And when the lemmings who are selling the subprime mortgages just put their hands in the air and say, I was told to do so, knowing fully well that they're ruining the economy, they're ruining the cash flow, you look at these young people, as you stated, and you say, what are they witnessing? What is the world they are seeing? Now, it's a different world than I saw in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And they're seeing a lack of accountability at many levels.
But yes and no. I think you have to separate the mad dog addictions that really do run the streets.
Oh, agreed.
And the other things I would agree with you on, what happened in banking, what happened in foreign policy. Tomorrow we're going to go after it. I mean, the people, they left Bagram in the middle of the night. They did not tell the new commanders the American military was leaving. I mean, that's for tomorrow. But
you're right.
I mean, all of these things. But the people that I'm around, and the guys that are in step that have jumped across and gone into sobriety. I remember, and I talked about this a couple of years ago, and you could see step 13 over this big big white kid, raw-boned kid, and he was talking about he had nowhere to go, and right over his shoulder is step. All he did is walk in the front door and say, I want to be sober, and I want to work, and I want to get my life back. He had no intentions of doing that. As long as in sobriety or to gain sobriety, you only people or countries or ideologies, they only change in pain. It's one of the themes in history. The only reason you change if it hurts too bad. That's when you change.
You're absolutely right.
When the British, the British were so repressive, the Americans, the colonialists changed, and it's a great focus in history. You only change in pain. In your life as an alcoholic or an addict, you have a choice, and you can change your life or you can remain the same and die. Well, as long as somebody's taking care of you, this is why parents, kill their own children by putting them constantly into rehab or taking care of them or all the different things that parental parents do. You have a 45-year-old kid and his mom and dad are putting him in rehab for the 5th time. I have a wonderful friend that I've known forever, and he's doing it now with his son. And I told him, I said, quit it. I said, he's going back to rehab for the 5th time. I said, you blow up in rehab more than twice. Somebody's going to.
It's happened to me personally. Exactly what you described.
I know it.
And
I know it.
And it's so the change we're talking about now can happen at an individual level.
Yeah, it has to.
It's become systemic in society now.
But
society has to
as long as the Hickenloopers and the Hancocks and the Policies, as long as they take care of. Look, you can have a family member who's got, and I've been through it, my own life is that answer. I can screw everything else up I want until the moment comes.
You're so right.
Until the moment comes. And the moment comes, all right, Peter, what do you want to do? And I could continue doing this and I could die. The column I wrote this month in the Chronicle, it's a true story. I met Bob Cote. We were on the street. I was sober for, I don't know, 60 days, whatever it was, and I ran into a guy who's no longer with us who was a really good radio guy. He had gone all the way to the street and came in to see me, and I didn't recognize him. And anyhow, I was giving him some money, and this big guy grabbed my hand and said, "What are you trying to do? You trying to kill him?" And it was Bob. And Bob said one of a couple of different things. Either going to overdose, somebody's going to stab him for the money, a series of, none of them were good. He said, you give him that money, you're going to kill him.
Well,
and that's
we're
what
in
Denver
violent
does.
agreement. Yeah, as my mentor used to say, we are in violent agreement.
Oh yeah, sure. It's nuts. It goes nowhere.
It's tough love, both at an individual level and at a societal level.
When you say the truth, sobriety is the only answer. When people were buying hotels, right now, DeGette and Hancock want to buy that hotel on Federal Boulevard, and my God, I mean, we've already Regis, the campground at Park Hill. These are killing fields. And these do-gooders think, well, I'll take care of you. That's like mommy and daddy putting a grown man back into rehab for the 5th time and paying his child support and making his child support checks and taking care of his ex-old lady because these people have money. They're killing everybody. They're killing everybody.
You go, the transfer of money. And it boils down to earned wealth and the self-esteem that comes with it and the drive that it promotes.
But sometimes... And again, history teaches us that sometimes let things go and see what happens. I did a discussion with somebody about Afghanistan. It's their country. Let them have it. Now, the Americans sneak out in the middle of the night. We snuck out in the middle of the night. Didn't even tell the Afghan commander we're leaving. I mean, that's Saigon. That's Benoit. Did it again, we'll do it again. We're going to do it again. And then everybody's jumping up and down on Fox News. What about you did it. You screwed that pooch. That pooch has been long screwed. Let these people have their country. Whatever the hell happens, happens. It's their life.
Well, we're going to get back to the statement I made in the last call that I placed with you, and that is I suggest everyone reads Atlas Shrugged.
Well, everybody...
It's not fiction. It actually happened in Anne Rand's lifetime.
Sure. No. And... and all the things that we're watching right now, and they all lead to a bad place. You know that. I mean, all of these things lead to a bad place. The cancel culture, and I've said this too many times, tell me the nation state of the country. Tell me the place where allowing these things to happen, where people's lives are ruined for thoughts and speeches, and tell me where we're going into libraries and taking out books and taking out books and not allowing movies to be seen or books to be read or tearing down statues or tell me the country that all happened in and it ended in a good place.
Well, you're bringing up a question you could pose to your listeners, and it's a tough one. How many people are in touch with the reality that this country could fail and fail quickly? I think a lot of people think that it just life goes on, and
empires
frankly, it doesn't.
Well, I'm reading this. I pick up these huge books, and it takes me 2 months, but it's called The Decline and Fall of the British Empire, and with apologies to Gibbon, and it's all true. And United States, I'm reading the life of Gandhi now, and how and they're doing, this British educated attorney, and he just what's Gandhi doing that the United States didn't do? What are the Irish doing that the United States didn't do? What are the Kenyans doing that the United States? They got rid of the British. It's their country, and right now, after all the experience of the Soviets in Afghanistan, U.S., NATO in Afghanistan, now, once again, everybody's going home. It's happened again and again and again and again and again, and there's a special place in hell for George Bush. There really is. And now they're worried about... I was with a family on Saturday. This is a true story. And my friend was 3 tours, and it's an interpreter's family. They're Afghans, and they were at this man's home. And the little girls were burqa'd, and the guy was an interpreter. He's gone. Don't know what happened to him. And they got the family out, and they're Afghans. And I'm sitting there, and I have my daughter with me. And it's so sad that family now lives here. It's the mom, and I didn't talk to her. I thought, just stay away, Peter. And the little girls, and a boy like about 12. They're Afghans. And their husband was what they call a Terp. He's gone. They're here. Thank you, George Bush. Truth. Just the truth. Burning truth.
It's
yeah.
Well, I really am a listener with absolutely no answer.
I don't have an answer. Just don't do like after and the same thing. They're leaving Bagram Air Force Base. They left in the middle of the night without telling the Afghans they were leaving. It's the fall of Saigon. It's the helicopters being pushed off the decks again.
I remember clearly.
Same people. The same people.
Yep.
All right, man.
Well, listen. I will listen to the follow-on conversation.
Go get them.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. We'll meet someday, man. Thank you, everybody.
News Talk 710 KNUS. Listen live at radio.com. More than just headlines. This is Peter Boyles. News Talk 710 KNUS.
Morning, everybody. 8:48, 12 before the hour. Randy's this afternoon. Back here tomorrow morning at 5. We go to John. You're on a radio show. Good morning. Thanks, man.
Yeah, hi, Pete.
Hey.
I was calling in on your topic, why I don't go downtown anymore.
Yeah.
And everything that you're saying is, like, on point. One of the main reasons I don't go down there anymore, I haven't been downtown probably in 4 years. It's been about that long. I used to work downtown when I first moved up here and everything, and it wasn't nothing what it is now. But now, you don't even know if you're going to be jumped. The police never want to do anything about anything, even if you are jumped or whatever. And I think as long as we got Polis, Hancock up there, any of them people that are up there, and I'm from California, I got family up there, and it's just as bad, if not worse, up there,
it's far
like
worse.
Fresno, California.
It's far worse.
It's really bad up there, Pete. And I used to drink, Pete, and I have a long drinking history, but anyway, I quit back in 2009. I had a friend of mine that got cirrhosis of the liver, ascites. He got a liver transplant, but man, I got to a point in my life to where I couldn't handle it no more. And one day I just, like, after seeing what my friend was going through, I finally had to admit to myself I was powerless over alcohol, Pete. I had to accept that.
I know the drill. I know the drill.
And, you know, I've been clean and sober now since 2009.
Good for you. Good for you, man. Good for you.
But being around that stuff, Pete, and anything like that, I want no part of it. I don't want to go back to that.
But no, of course not. But when you see the unhoused, or whatever the hell they're saying, the unsheltered, or what other idiotic statements they're making, these guys are mad dog addicts.
Exactly.
I mean, that's who they are.
Yeah, they are.
And for some idiot like, the biggest of all the idiots was watching John Hickenlooper into Michael Hancock. All they needed was a place to stay. That's back asswards. That's the wrong answer. If I said
exactly,
the answer is sobriety.
Exactly.
There is no other answer. And believe me, you're talking.
That's it, 100%, Pete. You're hitting the nail right on the head with it.
I tell you, if there was another way, brother man, I would have found it. That's the truth.
No, they're killing them. They're killing them at our expense.
Hickenlooper, Hancock, Polis, Denver City Council, the media outlets. I'll go down a list of things. They're killing these people. The answer is not a place to sleep. The answer is sobriety. Bob Cote knew it. Bob came off the street. Bob knew it. You know, he used to say you can't, do what to the you-know-whatter, and he was right. But here's the other thing, and I'm coming up on time. Not in his career or his life, and we had Vincent on, not one time did any elected official or bureaucrat ever come up and knock on the door, Step Denver, Step 13, and say, what are you guys doing right? Not once. When they had these summits on homelessness, he was never invited. That speaks volumes.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, man. Congrats, man. Good for you. Good for you. Of course,
you're a good man, Pete.
Well, you're a better man.
The truth.
I always say the thing, if I hadn't quit, you wouldn't be calling me, and if you hadn't quit, you wouldn't be talking to me. So
exactly.
Two guys together. You take care of yourself. Thanks, brother, man.
You
Thanks.
too, Pete.
All right. Soccer and swimming and track and gymnastics, all the Olympic stuff is going to start. The opening, grand opening, I think, for the Olympics is the 23rd. There's a couple things I want to watch. I got the Streamwise Solutions, and I got to tell you, it's the coolest television thing ever. What did I watch? I watched, there was a documentary on Valentino Rossi, the great motorcycle, GP rider, the doctor. How good they are. Just amazing. And it was one of those docks that they slowed things down, watch these guys just bending bikes at Laguna Seca and just go, man, can they ride? And you just can find these movies that would otherwise. I found a luchador movie on luchadors, El Santo and Blue Demon, and all in Spanish. I watched it in Spanish, the luchadors. Depending on different things, man. And if you're going to watch the Olympics, and you can talk to the experts at Streamwise to get everybody set up right. They'll help you save on watching on the Olympics and save on watching your favorite channels and help you access your entire home. I got 3 TVs and everybody's wired up. Watching the Olympics, you can make it a lot sweeter, a lot cheaper. Call Streamwise Solutions today and see how you can save. Call 303-794-8600. Brian and these guys, they really, truly know. It's the coolest way to do television. 303-794-8600. Get Streamwise.com, Streamwise.com. I saved 2 Gs. Well, I think it's like $1,400 a year, and I've been into my 3rd year now. Streamwise.com, Streamwise.com. Please, 303-794-8600. Tomorrow we're going to talk. This is the show that I planned, but the U.S. pulling out of Bagram last night, not telling the Afghans they're leaving. Did you ever ask yourself about this stuff? The longest war of the history of the country. The longest war in our history, the defining endless war, the so-called forever wars. Because what? Because Osama bin Laden had been given sanctuary by the Taliban in Kabul, didn't want to give him up. And that insanity begins, and under Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld and the rest. So now everybody comes home. The war lasted 18 years. No WMDs were found. Most U.S. troops have come and gone. The regime in Baghdad, the Shia militia, it's disgusting. It is Tansanut. It's all over again. The endless wars. What's the cost? You take care of yourselves, everybody. Randy's this afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Why don't you go downtown anymore? 303-696-1971. The pictures from riding motorcycles yesterday, 710 KNUS /Peter Boyles. Take care of yourselves, everybody. See you in the morning.
Happy trails to you till we meet.